Hello, this is Brennan Wilmington of the Left Turn Network, and we are back with another Lumen Stock Car Invitational Series race, season number 4, race number 8. And after a couple of weeks off, we are headed to the Hillside Raceway up in Natick, Massachusetts. And this is the first time that LSCI has ever gone here. The Amateur Series went there last year. There's been a lot of improvements made to the track since that race, but this is the first Cup race here that has ever happened. This is not our first race in the in New England, though. We did have a race in season 1 at Lime Rock, and Joe Smith won that race. Of course, Lime Rock, a very different kind of racetrack from this one. This is a high banked 1 mile oval, although it feels like it's a lot shorter. The banking is 36 degrees, which I believe is the highest banked track on the schedule. And it's good. This track is infamous in a couple of different NR2003 leagues for having some of the craziest finishes in NR 2003 history, and who knows, we might get one of those here today. Joined alongside me for the second time this season, it's Eddie Debs, and Eddie, this is a 1 mile oval like the previous race that you called with me, but it's a very different style of racing. What do you expect to see here today?
I mean, I expect to see pure insanity, as you've said throughout that introduction. This is a famous racetrack in the NR community for the things that have happened on it, both in terms of wrecks and in terms of, well, I should say wreck fests, and in terms of some finishes that were, I mean, just purely insane for a 1 mile track. And I mean, comparing this to Phoenix, I feel like isn't fair, mostly because Phoenix is, I mean, a place where your tires can basically melt, and now we're in Massachusetts, where I guess your tires can freeze. Except it's Massachusetts, so they probably won't. But I mean, at the same time, people are going to be, running all over the place. People are going to be fighting. A lot of drivers are probably going to be fighting to the front. Given this is, I don't want to say a substantial race in the season, but I mean, all of them at this point are, if you're anyone but Zach Dearman, Charlie McCann, or Tim Berry, just trying to get yourself within a race's point haul of the championship lead. So we're probably going to see some people make some very ugly moves and cause some very ugly events
You
here
say
today.
that, Eddie, and yet I think the drivers that are up in the top 5 in points might be the ones making the bold moves because the highest starting driver that is top 5 in points right now is 26th. That's Charlie McCarran. All of them had bad qualifying runs. 3 of them had to take points provisionals. Eddie, do you think that this could be a race where the points kind of flip on themselves? Whereas the first
I
7
would
races
love,
have been kind of standard.
yeah, and I would love to see it. I'm all for having a lot of different drivers having a chance late into the season. It makes for a more fun race. It makes every single race in the final stretch of the season just that much more important. So yeah, no, this could be a great race for people who really want to flip their seasons around. And again, with all those drivers in the back, this is a place where you could see it because that's a 20-point swing towards the front for anyone who finishes near the top 5, assuming those guys don't make up a ton of positions. That could really help. I mean, everyone on this track here today.
Yeah, and we're going to go over your starting lineup here real quick. Vinny Scholes in the 62 is your pole sitter in the Tide ride. Alongside her is the 40 car of Adrian Wheeler, who I believe this is his second front row start of the year, but I might be wrong on that. Row number 2 is a couple of Hondas, the number 8 of Darren Walker and the number 65 of Tamarin Bellinger. Great qualifying run for them. And also a great qualifying run for Sophia Miller-Lee, making her Cup Series debut. She ran 2 seasons of Amateur Series races, and she attempted to make the race at Atlanta earlier this season with a different team and failed to qualify. But this time she put it in the top 5, so a very impressive effort by Sophia Miller-Lee. We'll see what she can do on her debut, driving for Blake Everett Racing. Alongside her is the 27 of Adrienne Pearson. Row number 4 rather, is the 50 of Jacob Lopez and the 92 car of Kate Summers. And then it's the 6 car of Holly Martin and the 42 of Lulu Connie with a good start in the top 10. Row number 6 is Ashley Blake in the 52 and your defending champion, the 1 of Kevin DuPont. Then it's the 77 of JT Boyd and the 55 of Michael Harvin, the 29 of JB Chanot and the 41 of Karina Willis Calloway. Then we got the 13 car of Damon Kirby and the 58 of Joanna Clark. Kirby's one of the drivers that has raced on this track before. There aren't very many of them in the field, so these guys are kind of going in blind. But Kirby has ran a race here, and that was that aforementioned amateur series race. There are a few other drivers in the field that also were in that race. Then it's the 66 car of Tyler Landry and the 70 of Andrew Kreider. Corbin Taps in the 16 alongside Kobe Hollenbeck in the 79. Then you got Laken Herndon in the 39 and the 88 of Billy Smith. The 85 car of Charlie McCarron, which, as we said, is the highest up driver out of the drivers in the top 5 in points. They all had very rough qualifying runs. The 19 of Jake Sidney is back there with her. Then it's the 35 car of Rebecca Raymond and the 18 of Zach Dearman. The 99 of Akia Tajima and the 57 of Shauna Everett. And here's where a lot of your heavy hitters are. Jack Gino and Tim Berry sharing row 16. Row 17 has George Bryan and James Harvin, who's the current Rookie of the Year leader. And rounding out the field here today is the 9 car of Laurie Jackson. Your one and only DNQ this week was Cooper Spur in the number 24. So that's a tough break for him. Less TV time for him. I'm sure he's not happy about that. But we do have 35 cars. We're going to duke it out here on the high banks of Hillside. And it's going to be a 100-lap race. It will be a 2-stop race. We might get green flag pit stops, or we might get caution after caution after caution. It really is a mixed bag with this track. And as I mentioned earlier, the first 7 races of the year, aside from maybe Atlanta, have kind of gone. They've all been pretty solid, but none of them have really been huge standouts. Again, aside from Atlanta, but this could be a track where we get where we do get a standout, and that could be for better or for worse. But there's definitely a lot of unknowns heading into this race, but with the track that has the track record of this venue, expect some chaos to happen potentially.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the pace car will roll off the backstretch here at Hillside. I'm going to make this quick. Eddie, who do you think is going to win today?
Let's go for it. Massive upset. I don't care about a commentator's jinx. Sophia Miller-Lee gets it done.
Ooh, big, bold prediction here from Eddie, but she's starting in the top 5, so she very well might have a good shot to give Blake Everett Motorsports their first points-paying win in LSCI. This team did bring some upgrades after the Kansas race, so their cars are a little bit better now. We'll see what she can do. Pace car is going to pull off. Vinny Scholes and Adrian Wheeler are going to lead to the green flag. We are underway at Hillside. Coming out of turn number 4, Vinny Scholes is not going to lead the first lap. It's going to go to Darren Walker in the 8 car with Sophia Miller-Lee and the 50 of Jacob Lopez behind. The outside lane really does not work at this track. As you can see, your front row sitters are falling back in the pack tremendously. Wheeler might be able to find a spot. Oh, but they're still going 3 wide, though. There's not a lot of room for that, especially with a track as slippery as this. Oh, they're pushing the issue here.
There we go.
Kate Summers, Jake Sidney, Tamarin Bellinger, but they're holding on to it so far. They've kept it clean, although it's been very dicey here. Look at Tim Berry and George Bryan already on the prowl, gaining some positions. And Akia Tajima slid up the track as well. It is absolute chaos here in the opening laps at Hillside, kind of what we were expecting to see here.
I'm just surprised it's not a wreck, but at this point, everyone might be hoping for a wreck because the drivers who you do not want to see getting anywhere close to what the heck are you doing, 13? Jeez, Damon. Do better. Jacob Lopez out the front, but you don't. I mean, this is, I won't say worst case scenario, but I mean, Lopez and DuPont happy at the front, but you've got to be looking at the fact that George Bryan and all those guys are making him brown, and they've got to be scared. Maybe they're hoping for a wreck a little bit. They might be hoping for it, but yeah, no, there's bumping and banging like it's a short track, and yet nothing is happening.
And I'm just preparing that cue in case it happens, but Sophia Miller-Lee moving up to third. Tyler Landry, Kobe Hollenbeck, and a lot of these guys started mid-pack, but since they were able to stay on the inside, Landry getting really close to Miller-Lee there. They banged doors a little bit off of turn 2, but again, they keep it pretty clean for the most part here. Landry in the wall, and that's gonna force a reaction from the cars behind. But again, we're still clean. No yellows yet, no accidents. I did ready that yellow command just in case they did wreck, because sometimes they don't like throwing it when it happens on the front stretch. So just keeping an eye on that. But Jacob Lopez and Kevin DuPont, this is good news for these two. They pulled away from most of the mess. Billy Smith third, Kate Summers up in fourth. I think Michael Harvin just booted the 36 out of the way and is going to take fifth away. And Jake Sidney has come out of nowhere. George Bryan, Lori Jackson started in last, and in 8 laps, she's already inside the top 10.
I said something about Michael. It wasn't Michael, it was James, actually. I think. And just whether or not, but Michael's putting in a great race too so far, so probably gonna have to look out for him at the end of this race. Kate Summers has managed to make it up here despite what happened to his teammate at the beginning of this race, and yeah, I mean, what else can you say? Everyone said, "Oh, we can hold George Bryan to the back," and the next thing you know, he's in the top 10. And Jack Dino might join him there very soon.
Yeah, a lot of our points contenders that started near the back have already found their way up towards the front. The 18 is up here as well, Jack Gino's teammate. In fact, all 3 Hudson cars are up here either in the top 10 or close to the top 10, but the positions shuffle pretty fast here, so that is something to look out for. There's your pole sitter who's fallen outside the top 20. Not a good start for her. Both of the front row sitting cars did not have a good start. They both got up on the outside lane really early. One of our points contenders that has not made her way up through the field, though, is the 85 of Charlie McCarran, as she is still in the back, and Tim Berry is in dead last right now. And that is your points leader that has not finished outside the top 10 all year, who you see sitting back here. So
must have noticed the cameras were on him. He finally moved to the inside and might get a position here.
I think he got the wall
he's got
at some point. Yeah, and that's a pretty common thing here. They do hit the wall on exits sometimes, so that explains why he's still back here. So some damage on Tim Berry, and that's all you got to do. You missed the pass for the lead again. Kevin DuPont takes over the lead. Lopez still second. The entire top 5 is pretty much unchanged, except for the fact that Jake Sidney is now up here. How about Joanna Clark in the top 10 right now? She's been kind of outperforming her equipment here the last few weeks, and she's continuing it here at Hillside. She is pretty good on the short tracks, so if there is any kind of track that she'd be pretty good at, and just as I'm saying that, of course, she gets into the wall. She's going to lose a couple spots. Her teammate Tamarin Bellinger is still up here, and it looks like they're going to get past her as well. But Diamond Motorsports looking pretty good here, and that's good improvement from that team that we like to see. But up in front, it's another Honda. Kevin DuPont, he took it away from Jacob Lopez, and he's opened up about a 6.5 second lead. We'll see how long that lead can last.
I mean, I think for Kevin, this is really what you want.
I think the caution is out. Shauna Everett is around.
Boy.
And we've got a few others. Holly Martin and Ashley Blake with lots of damage. And we got more. Miller Lee is on top of the safer barrier. And that's all 3 Blake Everett cars involved in that. JT Boyd is also in it.
62 somehow survived.
I think the 62 got some damage from that, but not as much. We have lots of other scraped up cars, including Joanna Clark. Man, how many cars were in this?
Enough.
Oh my goodness. Look at them all kind of lining up here. Not all of them have damage, but we're waiting for the pace car here. The pace car is taking its sweet time, and that could be a problem for some of the guys up front because they won't be able to pit. Oh, be careful. Do not run into each other. They're going to come in and pit anyway, except for Kevin DuPont.
DuPont probably has to be the leader, so he got stuck.
Yeah, and we might end up seeing him pit the next time by, so that's a tough break for Kevin DuPont. The caution came out at a pretty bad time there for the pace car, and This is something that we've seen at Michigan before, but it's happening here too. But that looked like a hard wreck here at Hillside, and that's, again, pretty typical of this track. When they crash, they usually crash pretty hard, but that was a lot of cars involved in that, and I think most of them are already out of the race. 3 of them at least. Sophia Miller-Lee, and that's a shame for her because she had a good start to the race, but evidently something happened to her. Holly Martin and Ashley Blake are also out of the race.
Shauna Everett's somewhere around here.
There's Everett in the 57. So, yeah, Blake Everett Motorsports, they brought some new upgrades to this race, and it's not going to end well for them.
Might have gotten knocked out of the car at this point.
JT Boyd with a lot of front end damage. Looks like they're going to just rip the hood off of it and keep him going. 62 probably got at least a small piece of that, but she looks pretty okay compared to a lot of the other damaged cars. Well, our first caution of the race here and there's DuPont pitting, like we mentioned, so he's going to end up cycling to the back because of that. Jake Sidney is going to be the leader, it looks like.
Oh boy.
And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Chevrolets behind the Ford. And there's a lot of damaged cars here, but all of them are going to stay on the lead lap. That's bad news for DuPont. That means he's going to have to start behind all of them. But there's our first caution of the race here on lap number 19 of 100. Jake Sidney is now your leader, the number 19. And we're going to show the replay of what happened, and then we'll get back to the restart here at Hillside. Well, here is our first caution of the race. The 66 of Tyler Landry touches this one off. The 58 of Joanna Clark gets into the wall, and then Sophia Miller-Lee runs into the back, and she goes upside down after a hit from Holly Martin. Kobe Hollenbeck gets in it. James Harvin gets involved. Adrian Wheeler barely misses it, and then Miller-Lee slides down the banking. And JT Boyd just runs into her. And she ends up flipping over, and that's how she ends up on top of the pit barrier. And, you know, flipping in your first LSCI start is not a good sign, even though Miller-Lee was off to a good start in this race, and it's going to end early here. And we saw a couple of other cars got involved as well, the 52 and the 6. And we'll show that here in the second replay. But tough break for a lot of drivers there, and including Miller-Lee and Blake and Martin. But that was just one of those turn 4 collisions that are pretty common here, and just had to happen to sweep up a couple other cars that had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we expected. Turn 4 just causing some issues, and yeah, Miller-Lee really needed to go low there and didn't, and that's just gonna take her out. Holly Martin gets absolutely smacked in the mouth by Ashley Blake. He goes around. Billy Scholes barely survives, and then you see the 77 of JT Boyd having already run into Miller-Lee. Sorry, Sophia. I mean, I don't think I can count those commentators jinx. You did kind of run right into Tyler Landry. Could have probably easily avoided him, but I can understand being in a new car. You don't know how hard you have to turn to make a emergency move, so I guess it is a bit understandable. But yeah, first caution of the race, early. And I don't know if we're shaping up for a crash fest, but let's hope not.
Well, this happened the lap before and did not bring out the caution. Vinnie Scholes just slides up into JB Chanot and wipes herself out, and she takes the 57 of Shauna Everett with her. Actually, no, this happened on the same lap as the accident. This happened behind them. So, this was unrelated to that, it looks like, but that's how those two got their damage. They weren't technically involved in the main accident, but they did still suffer damage from that, and that's a tough break there for the pole sitter and the 57 of Shauna Everett. As you can see, the aftermath of the previous of the accident that would happen further down the track. So that explains where they got their damage from. Welcome back here at Hillside Raceway. We are completing our first caution of the race. Gonna get back to the restart on lap number 22. Jake Sidney is out in front. Jacob Lopez is in second. George Bryan is third. Billy Smith is fourth. And Corbin Taps rounds out your top 5. 3 cars are out of the race. It is Ashley Blake, Sophia Miller-Lee, and Holly Martin, all out due to the accident that caused the caution. And we have a few other wounded cars back there as well, but everyone else that's still on the track is still on the lead lap. Sydney back on the gas. We're back racing here at Hillside. Bryan making a move on the restart. He's getting underneath Lopez for second. He's going to try and get to Sydney for the lead, and he's going to get under. And George Bryan's going to go from third to first in 1 lap. Sydney's going to try and fight back on the outside lane, but there's not much grip up there, and as expected, he's going to drop some spots up there. Here comes Taps and Herndon down on the bottom, making up some spots. This is Lakin Herndon's first time in the top 5. As he's now up to the 4th position, maybe going to try and take 3rd away from Taps.
Oh boy. Shuffling's going on. And 50 got to watch out because that 3 car can really get under him.
Here comes Bryan underneath Lopez. Billy Smith, Bryan's teammate, is also going for a pass behind him. And we might see Patriot Racing Incorporated going 1-2 here as Smith gets underneath Lopez and Bryan clears him. And George Bryan is now leading this race, and he started all the way out back. He had to pass basically the whole field to get up here. But we'll see if Billy Smith has anything for him as the 2 Patriot Racing cars take up the top 2 spots with Lakin Herndon giving chase. Tamarin Bellinger trying to drag the Diamond Motorsports car up into the top 5. And Tyler Landry trying to drag a wounded McPicky Motorsports car up there as well. He's currently in the 8th position.
Testament to the car, man. You can drag that thing. If you can get that thing in the top 10 looking like that, I mean, that's a pretty good team. That's a pretty
something
good
happened up there. I think the 88 got the wall. Herndon's up to 2nd. Taps and Bellinger are going to pass him as well. And Bellinger's going to move up to 3rd. This 65 is looking pretty fast. Definitely watch out for that car. But the top 2 trying to pull away with Bryan in front and Herndon giving chase. Oh, that was a close moment there between Taps and Smith, but they hang on. Jack Gino is up here as well. You saw the dent in the side of the 88 from hitting the wall a couple laps ago. And he is still dropping through the field as Gino and Lopez try and make some ground up on the inside. Checking further back in the field, and it's less crazy than it was off the start. They're a little bit more spread out, mainly because there are some damaged cars. The 77 and 79 are going to be a hazard for the remainder of the race, it seems. So definitely got to keep an eye out for those 2 cars, potentially getting in the way of the faster cars.
Watching the lap time here. Okay, they at least somewhat caught Bryan there. At least Herndon and Bellinger, but at this point, you don't want to let George Bryan get away from this race because he can definitely lead for as long as he wants. But I could stop past. Yep, Bellinger's putting in laps. Bellinger's putting in fast laps. Oh, there's another caution.
Vinny Scholes, and there's the caution.
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
It looks like it might have just been the 62. And that's a tough break for our pole sitter. Damage on both sides of the race car. Looks like I think she was already involved in the first accident, at least to some extent. But once again, it looks like she should be able to continue. Lulu Connie also has some damage.
Oh.
Not sure if that was from this accident.
Oh. The 11 has damage now, too.
I think the 11 might have collided into somebody. No, I think he might have just hit the wall at some point. Because remember, he did have damage earlier when we checked up on him and he was in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be left over from that. Ooh, the 3 and the 65 staying out. I'm wondering if that was planned or if that's the same situation that DuPont just went through, where the pace car didn't catch up in time. That'd be a tough break for them. If that's the case, that would hand the lead over to whoever gets out of the pit lane first here. which could potentially be Jacob Lopez. Watching the race off the pit lane. Vinny Scholl's entering her box, and Lakin Herndon is going to get out first. Out of this group, be careful, don't run into each other in the pits. Herndon, Lopez, Gino, Taps, and Walker. And yeah, these two are now coming in the next time by, so this pace car...
the one car was moving through the pack those last couple of laps, so I think as long as they can avoid getting in a wreck, I think they're going to be all right.
I think he's going to be scored He's going to be scored in 11th on this restart, so he gained quite a few positions, so that was a good restart for him and what he needed, so hopefully those other two can do the same. Well, we have our second caution of the race here at Hillside on lap number 33. Lakin Herndon is going to be your race leader now, ahead of Jacob Lopez and Jack Gino. We'll give you a replay of what happened to the 62 of Vinny Scholl's, and then we'll get back to the restart at the Hillside Raceway. Well, here's our second caution of the day. Vinny Scholl's putting on an absolute masterclass of driving here today, as she does the exact same thing that caused her to get involved in an accident on the first caution, and she takes Lulu Connie with her. You know, that's our all-star driver right there. And the caution doesn't actually come out until they spin up the track. And this is something that I had pointed out earlier in the race. They don't like throwing cautions that happen on the front stretch, but I guess they were on the racing surface just enough for them to throw the yellow that time. But tough break for the 42 and the 62. Both of them should be able to continue, but it's going to be a lot harder for them now, as both of them have sustained more damage to their cars.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Unfortunately, I think Vinny just acts a fool entirely off at turn 4, and you're not getting away from Lulu in the paddock. I'm sure there's going to be some words for Vinny, but, given how badly beaten up that car is, maybe those words might happen earlier. These drivers end up having to park due to damage, but we will see. Looks like they're driving okay, at least Vinny is, through the pit lap, so.
Welcome back here at the Hillside Raceway, completing lap number 35 of 100. About to get back to the restart on lap number 36. Lakin Herndon is your leader. Jacob Lopez is in second. Jack Gino is third. Corbin Taps and Darren Walker round out the top 5. Nobody was taken out from that previous accident. We still have 32 cars on the lead lap and 32 cars in the race. And we're going to get another restart here. Something is going wrong with the 3 car. He just had a tire failure before the restart. And it just went from bad to worse for George Bryant as we take the green flag here at Hillside. We'll check up on him in a moment, but first we got to watch what happens here at the front on this restart as Corbin Taps tries to make a move for third, and that's going to kick Gino up to the outside.
That's going to really hurt Gino these next couple. Oh, Taps is going for a double. We've seen it. It can be pulled off. You can get by 2 cars through 4 turns in this track. But yeah, man, we just got really lucky if we think about it. George Bryan blowing a tire at the front of this field would have absolutely caused a lot of problems. So we got a little lucky, but we're going to have to see if they can hold it together these next couple laps, and that's going to be an interesting case.
Evan DuPont up to 6th. He's rebounded quite nicely after he got sent to the back. There you saw Bryan leaving the pits, so he's going to lose at least 1 lap, potentially 2. And Corbin Taps is knocking on the door of the lead. He's going to get underneath Lakin Herndon. They're going to be side by side to the line, and that was close, but Taps definitely got there first. And he's going to lead the lap. He's going to take the lead away from the 39, the 50, and the 88. The Chevrolet Train on the inside is going to get by the Toyota. And that's going to put Lopez in second and Billy Smith in third. DuPont looks like he's going to follow suit as well, up in 4th. Adrian Fearson carrying the banner for NH Motorsports, as JT Boyd was involved in that first wreck. And she's doing a pretty good job here, looking for her first top 10 of the season, knocking on the door of a top 5 here as she goes underneath the one of Lopez. Billy Smith's going to move into second as well. So a lot of position swapping here at the front. Here comes Fearson diving it low. She's going to try and get into a podium spot.
What we said, this race is going to be wild. And so far, we are seeing just some people you get to the inside, you can get a lot of spots up, but then you got to hold those spots, and that's where a lot of the drivers who move up to the front start falling back. But man, Corbin Tapson, I guess he's decided he wants to join in the McPicky winning group.
Yeah, he's the only. Oh, Adrian Fearson's going to
what
go
are you
around hard
doing?
into the
Oh,
wall, taking
goodness.
DuPont with her, and this is going to
Look
be
out.
a big one. And the whole field is going to pile into it in turn 3. The 50 car is upside down. Oh my goodness. One of the biggest crashes in LSCI history.
And
Hollenbeck piles in at the end. Caution is out. Oh my goodness. They all wanted it up in turn number 3. How many cars do we have left?
We're going to find out.
Oh my word. Taps wins the race back to the line. I see about 6 cars that have minimal damage. And everyone else is totaled. Vinny Scholes is out of the race. Adrian Wheeler is totaled. Most of the Motor Racing Ventures cars, potentially all of them. Rebecca Raymond. Damon Kirby. I mean, it'd be easier to say who wasn't in it. George Bryan looks like he's going to stay out, and he's going to inherit the lead from that. I mean, I guess... Oh, no, because he's off the lead lap. Eddie, can you believe what you just saw?
No. I mean, I guess as soon as those cars started to go to the inside and started to come up the track, I could believe that we were going to have a terrible one, but, I mean, that was a highway block, like, shut down an entire interstate for 24 hours type of crash that we just witnessed, and, we're gonna have to see what LSCI officials say, but other than that, yeah, that was insane. We will see. We will see who's left. I'm thinking a lot of cars are gonna be able to just rip off some hoods, bang on the cars a bit, and at least get back out there. But yeah, some of these things do not look like they're going to be fun to drive.
Tajima and JB Chanot, Joanna Clark, Lakin Herndon, Charlie McCarran. Look at, it's practically a modified race out here. These things are, well, a lot of these cars are junk. We still got a few clean ones up here, but most of them are completely destroyed. Corbin Taps is still the leader, and looks like a couple of these cars are going to get back on the lead lap here, so that's good news for them. I might as well just start waving them around right now. Man, we do not have that many cars left for a race here, and we still got half the race left to go.
Welcome to Hillside, baby.
Oh boy. These 2 cars might be pit looping. We'll have to keep an eye on them. JB Chanot and a Kia Tajima, so that would be a DQ if they are. But, oh boy, we're going to need possibly several replays of what just happened here at Hillside, as that might have been the biggest crash that we've ever seen in LSCI in terms of cars involved. And, oh boy, we're gonna show you guys what happened. Although you guys basically saw all of it, and we're gonna get you back to the restart here soon at Hillside under our 3rd caution of the race. And here we have it, potentially the biggest accident in LSCI history. And we saw how it started. Kevin DuPont off of turn 2 just hooks the 27. They don't get off of each other. Hard hit into the inside wall for both of them. And then they just slide up the track, and it is on from there. Lots of cars involved in that. cars on top of cars. You saw the 92 and the 50 there, and it just continues. The 50 gets knocked onto his roof by the 99, and the 45 just plows into the wreck. The 29 gets on top of Raymond, and it is just an absolute junkyard on the front stretch. And then Kobe Hollenbeck at the last minute decides he wants to be part of the wreck too. We've got 2 cars upside down on the apron. That's at least 20 cars involved in that, probably more. And we're going to see a lot of retirees from the race after that. And I don't know what to say. That was just absolutely unbelievable and a very avoidable accident too. But DuPont ended up totaled because of that too. So, that was again probably the biggest wreck we've ever seen in LSCI. And there's just not a lot of room on this racetrack to avoid the accidents when they come back up the track like that. And just not a lot of places to go for a lot of these drivers. Lulu Connie, JT Boyd, a lot of these drivers were already involved in first couple cautions. Vinny Scholes was involved in all 3 yellows today. And just a lot of drivers involved in that. All 4 of the Motor Racing Ventures cars got significant damage. I mean, this one's wiping out entire teams. So that's there you see Tajima has a lot of damage. McCarran, James Harvin, Andrew Kreider, Lakin Herndon, potentially all the Columbia Motorsports cars were also involved in that. So again, at least 2 entire 4-car teams were taken out or majorly wounded in this. But there's just so many cars involved that you just can't list them all, and it just became a junkyard in turn 3. And that's going to be the end of the days of a lot of drivers, and we're not going to have that many clean cars to have a race with for the second half of the race. That's for sure.
Both of these drivers, I think, making the biggest mistake of their careers and just deciding to force the issue between the both of them. Suddenly, everyone's involved. DuPont spinning. DuPont gets absolutely clobbered. 2 cars upside down. James Harvin is annoying everyone again. He's probably going to have to answer for that from LSDI officials. 29 flipped. People are just trying to get back going. Some can't, some Lulu Connie. Hope you had a nice day here. Hope you can get out of the medical tent quick, because I think every single one of the drivers in this race, no matter if they're driving or not, are definitely going to get some checkups with the resident doctor in the infield after this, because that was a lot of, probably airbags being deployed and whatnot. Oof, scary things. I think everyone's going to be all right. We hope everyone's going to be all right. And we're just going to have to continue forward with probably less than half the field actively in this race, as we see cars. Yeah, those hoods are either going to have to come off or they're just going to have to retire the car. A lot of interesting decisions being made on pit road. We'll have to check back on who decided to keep that car out there and who has decided to park.
On board with Rebecca Raymond. And they just kept piling in there. You saw there was no way that Raymond could have avoided the 1 car, because it was just all smoke and then like a second of the 1 car. That's all the reaction time she had. She had 2 cars go on top of each other. And that's what it was like for a lot of those drivers trying to avoid that. Welcome back here at the Hillside Raceway. We are wrapping up our 3rd caution of the race, and definitely our biggest caution of the season. And just look at the list of cars that are out of the race. It would take me forever to get through all of them. Just go ahead and see. If you see your favorite driver's number on there, just, my goodness. We also had a couple of drivers that were pit looping, so they've been told to park it. 19 cars left in the race, 17 of them on the lead lap. Corbin Taps is still your leader. Billy Smith is second. Then it's Tyler Landry, Jack Gino, and Karina Willis-Callaway. We're back racing here at Hillside. And Tyler Landry with a car that looks like it's ready for the dumpster, trying to make some moves on the inside, but the 58 of Joanna Clark, who's not much better off, in fact, significantly worse off because she's a lap down, is holding her up. And Corbin Taps is pulling away from all this mess. But Landry's going to get underneath and try and take second here. Taps also went wide in front. And looks like these are our competitive cars. Damon Kirby back here is actually running in 7th right now. But he's definitely off the pace from these leaders. So potentially a 6-car race from here on out. And we still got one pit cycle left as well. So we'll have to see how this plays out up here at the front.
We're going to have to come here on the next lap. Unfortunately, we are still cursed with Tim Berry because he has made his way to the top 10. As we're 3 wide, never mind, this is more important. Do they... Okay, they're going to keep it mildly safe here. Almost 4 wide if the 58 wanted to push the issue. But, yeah. Joanna's holding with him. Admittedly, but...
And you mentioned Tim Berry. I didn't even notice. His car is completely destroyed. But he's... Bellinger's going to save it. That was almost our 4th caution of the race, but... Thankfully, Bellinger kept it straight, but yeah, Tim Berry's car, he was in the back all day. He's been involved in accidents. He's been into the wall, and he's still in the top 10. I'm convinced nothing's going to stop him from keeping that streak going.
Well, maybe the outside lane might, but we'll see. Doesn't matter at this point. Gino and Taft are probably decided they're going to want to be one at Karina Willis-Callaway win this race.
Talking about incredible drivers this season, this car is not very good. We've seen the 42, her teammate, no matter who's been in it, kind of struggle this year. But Karina has been excellent in this car this year. She's one of the only clean cars on the track left, so she's going to try and get involved in this race for the lead with Taps and Gino, although she's still got a bit of a ways to go before she gets there. But these two, Taps and Gino, definitely look like they're the 2 fastest cars on the track right now. And Gino's going to try and get under Taps and take the lead here. He's going to try and become the first multiple-time winner this season. Corbin Taps is the only McPinkey Motorsports driver that hasn't won yet, so he's going to try and break that streak. Karina Willis-Callaway trying to end a long winless streak. So these 3 drivers look to be our fastest ones left, and it might be between these 3 for the rest of the going. And we still
whoever wins on that pit road might win. This might be a pit battle, but not the one we're thinking of. It just might be who can get off the best.
Yeah, and we got some slow cars as well, as you can imagine. Andrew Kreider's off the pace. Zach Dearman is off the pace, so those 2 might end up affecting this lead battle as well. And these 3 are about 2 seconds ahead of Billy Smith in 4th and Tyler Landry in 5th. I mean, the fact that Tyler Landry's still in 5th with this thing is incredible. Lori Jackson having a good run. I mean, like, all things considered, Checkered Flag Racing, they might have 3 beat-up cars, and one of them's in the garage, Rebecca Raymond. But, you know, the 2 cars that are still running, they're both in the top 10. I mean, Damon Kirby, this could be his first top 10 of the season. Lori Jackson, I think this would be her first top 10 of the season, so this is not too bad for Checkered Flag Racing, despite how bad the cars look. And that's just, there's stories like that all over the field right now. So,
Lincoln Herndon is still in the top 10. Lincoln Herndon got, ran headfirst into the crash with no hood, and he is ahead of Tim Berry.
These 2 are battling for 9th, Lincoln Herndon and Tim Berry. These are 2 of our better drivers, but, oh boy, their cars are absolutely wrecked, but they're battling for 9th. So, I mean, it's not too bad for them. And here we go. We're running up on the lap traffic already. I didn't realize they were that slow. But they're going to go side by side for the lead as they catch the lap cars. This is going to get the 41 involved in this for sure.
Oh,
Taps is going to forge a path. Gino's going to get held up by his teammate on the outside lane. He's going to drop to 3rd. Karina Willis-Callaway up to 2nd, potentially looking to take the lead away from Taps if she can get underneath. Taps had to check up on the outside there.
Went for the quarter panel.
Here comes Karina Willis-Callaway, going to take the lead away from Corbin Taps. Gino and Taps are now going to fight for second. Gino slides up into him, had to check up. Taps is going to keep second. But Karina Willis-Callaway has now found herself in the lead in the number 41 car, trying to hold off Taps and Gino. And these two cars are pretty slow. They're going to be a problem for these guys as well. Joanna Clark is actually keeping pace with these leaders, despite all the damage on her car. So if she manages to get back on the lead lap, she could be a factor as well. Currently running in 17th. Gino is going to pass for second, but these top three definitely pulling away, especially now that they're getting some help from the lap cars who are now going side by side. That is not what you want to see if you are Tyler Landry or Lori Jackson here. You just want to get by them clean. Oh, Landry almost turned Kreider off the corner. Jackson's going to get past him, and she's going to force it 3 wide, and she is going to make the pass on them. Oh, they're making contact.
Guys.
Oh, that's really sketchy, but it looks like they're going to make it through. Gino on the prowl, though. We might have another lead change here soon.
That would be just like LSCI to have their first multi-time winner of the season come at a race where nothing makes sense. Half the drivers are in the medical tent. Yeah, that makes sense. But at this point, it's that Corbin is still trying to prove to McPicky that he's, I don't know, worth not getting dropped for whoever they can sign in the offseason. And then you have Greenwell Callaway putting up possibly one of the, I don't know, most insane underdog runs, and capping it off here would be just the icing on the cake, put some sprinkles, golf it with a cherry. That'd be beautiful for the Connie Twins team at this point.
Definitely shout out to these three drivers. I mean, these are the cleanest cars on the track here. They've stayed out of trouble. They've had fast cars. They've gotten to this point in the race where they've got a shot to win, and it's just been a good team effort for these three. But only one of them can win the race, and Karina Willis-Callaway's holding the lead pretty good right now. The action's kind of calmed down, but we still got a pit cycle left. I think this race is going to be decided on pit road, at least between these three. And we'll see what that entails here within the next few laps. I think they're probably going to start coming in sometime around, when did we have the caution? Around the halfway point of the race. So he should start seeing them peel into the pits around lap 85, probably a little bit before then. So if this thing stays green, that's when we're going to have our green flag pit cycle. Taps is going to get under Gino, and Gino hits the wall hard. Oh man.
That's so much for the 2 wins, first driver to 2 wins this year.
That's gotta be frustrating. You make it through that big accident, you survive the big crash, and then you end up just knocking the wall down like that. Corbin Taps just took the lead from Karina Willis-Callaway. They're catching some more lap traffic. Kate Summers in the 92, Charlie McCarron in the 85. I mean, look at this thing. This car's at 13th. This is kind of reminding me of the Milwaukee race where we had Joe Smith up there. Oh, she might be getting in the way a little bit. But Taps is going to get by the lap cars, and now Karina Willis-Callaway is going to have to deal with them. Gino's still trying to keep up with them despite the right side damage. But this is great news for Corbin Taps as he is pulling away from the 41 as she's having a little bit more trouble getting past the lap cars, but she should be able to clear them into 3 and 4 here. And that'll open this battle for the lead back up. Looking ahead, Shauna Everett and JT Boyd are the next cars that they have to catch. And Everett is the only Blake Everett car left in the race, but she's running 11th, even though she was in that first wreck, potentially involved in that big one as well. I mean, she still could get a good run here for that race team. But we're closing in on the pits. We're closing in on the pit cycle here. Corbin Taps is in a pretty good spot right now, trying to get McPicky Motorsports their 4th win in 8 races, all with different drivers. And if that isn't a show of strength, I don't know what is. But, this thing is definitely not over yet. Gino in 3rd is an interesting case here because, I imagine when he comes in and pits, that's probably going to be an extended stay to fix that damage on the right side. So, realistically, I think the race for the win is going to come down between the top 2.
Absolutely. And Karina is just kind of hanging there. She's going to need some better laps than Corbin if she wants to at least
Oh,
be on
Taps
him and
coming
not.
in.
Oh, and he just went down.
Early pit stop
That's a
here
bit
for
early.
Corbin Taps. He's going to try and cut the run in half instead of stretching it to lap 80. Billy Smith's also coming in, and it looks like
Smith.
I'd imagine we'd see the 41 come in next time by.
18's in.
Yeah, Dearman was already slow and with damage. He's coming in. I imagine Karina might come in this lap, and here she comes. So our pit cycle is happening now. They're, instead of trying to stretch it as long as possible, they have elected instead to cut this final run in half. So we'll see what ends up winning out here. Taps came in one lap before the 41 did, and he is away now. And we'll have to keep an eye on the 41 car to see where she comes out relative to Taps. She's making her stop now. Billy Smith's also leaving the pits, as you see in front of her. Damon Kirby completes his stop. Also got to watch out for potentially collisions in the pits, as we got a lot of cars going in and out. Karina Willis-Callaway is
Karina's clean.
away. Watching for Taps up on the track there. Where is Corbin Taps? There he is, and there's the 41. He's going to get out ahead of her.
And that's
a pretty decent gap that he's opened up on the 41. We'll see if Karina Willis-Callaway can make that up. But that's going to be a pretty difficult gap to close. The difference is 2 seconds between the two. We're not quite cycled through yet, so, you know, there could still be some chicanery that happens. I mean, we've already seen what's happened in this race. Summers is one of the last ones to come in. Her car is pretty badly beat up, but at least she's going to get a lap lead bonus. But this should cycle out to Taps in the lead here soon, and you can see just how much time the 81 lost from that damage repair. He's all the way back here now. Oh, be careful. We don't want to cause a wreck here.
He's all the way back in 10th. For now.
I mean, he's
making 9th. Kate Summers is gonna.
Yeah, he's very clearly faster than these cars around him, but they just took so long to repair the damage that, oh man, here's something that might affect Corbin Taps. We've got a lot of slow cars in front of him. So this thing's definitely not over yet. Karina Willis-Callaway 2.1 seconds back. We'll have to monitor that gap as Taps starts to close in on the slower traffic. He's having no problems with the 18 and the 70. But we'll see here. Less than 20 laps to go. Corbin Taps is looking pretty good, but he has by no means won it yet. That's his teammate, Tim Berry. Running in 10th that he's about to put the lap down. He's also about to lap 9th place. Oh, careful. You do not want to be doing that this late in the race, especially if you're the leader.
I'm starting to think that Corbin can do whatever he wants at this point. I think he knows he can kind of go with the flow and win this race. All he has to do is make sure that, you know, he doesn't wreck himself. But he'd be willing to probably be a bit more aggressive to make sure that 41 gets a bunch of lap cars in between the two of them.
41 gained a couple tenths last time by because the 16 was dealing with traffic, but he has put Lake and Herndon a lap down. There are now only 7 cars on the lead lap. And that's a lot of cars between the 16 and the 41 now, so this is great news for Corbin Taps. Although Willis-Callaway is matching his lap times, I don't know if she's going to be able to make up that gap unless we get a yellow. And these guys are pretty spread out at this point, so it might be a little bit more difficult to have a caution. There's your third place driver, Billy Smith, getting past JT Boyd here. Lori Jackson is in 4th. Jake Sidney is in 5th. Damon Kirby is 6th. And Gino is the last car on the lead lap in 7th. So Callaway's gotten past Tim Berry and now is running up on the side-by-side cars racing for position, Shauna Everett and Lakin Herndon. She is faster than Taps. It's down to 1.5 seconds, and now there's no cars in between them. But the question is there enough time for the 41 to get up to him?
10 laps. Gonna be close, but you're also gotta. I mean, he's gonna get by Summers. You also gotta realize that. I mean, at this point, you're getting to the point of no return. A caution does not help Karina Willis-Callaway in these next couple of laps. So she's gonna need it either now or she's gonna have to go for it if she wants the win. We're just gonna have to see what the strategy calls for. I don't think we're getting a wreck, so. Yeah, she just lost 2 tenths.
Yeah, Taps gained time that last time by. That was a crucial lap there for Taps. He could not afford to keep losing time to the 41, and he just put together a good lap to kind of fend that off. But here we go. We're coming up on 10 laps to go for Corbin Taps and McPicky Motorsports, trying to establish their might here on the series, trying to get all 4 of their cars to victory lane before we even get to Daytona, which I don't believe has happened before. At least not that fast. Actually, Columbia Motorsports got a win with all 4 of their drivers. Karina Willis-Callaway is getting passed by a lap car right now. That is the 66 of Tyler Landry, who is currently running in 8th. And that is probably going to seal it unless we get some late race chicanery here. But you got to remember Rockingham, Corbin Taps was battling Holly Martin late in that race, and his engine expired with 4 laps to go. So you got to think if he's Taps, you might be thinking about that and hoping that that doesn't happen to him again.
It would be funny, though. It'd be the perfect way to cap off this race if it did happen, but...
It would. It really
I think
would.
at this point, Corbin can at least take solace in the fact that it's not going to happen at this race. That happened at that one, because, again, McPicky put together perfect car for today, and it just worked out that Corbin was one of those guys who just wasn't involved in the big cautions, and that's probably what's going to mean he's going to get there. Tim Berry is, I think, fighting on the verge of the top 10 with Blake and Herndon and Shauna Everett right now. I mean, Holly Martin's been out of it.
Oh, look out!
Oh, what are you guys doing?
Herndon and Summers get into it off of 4, but they keep it straight, and we're still green.
Well, so much for Tim Berry not breaking his top 10 streak.
We might have a battle for second here between Billy Smith and Karina Willis-Callaway. That was a pretty rough corner there for the 41. 2.1 seconds back. Taps with 5 laps to go is pulling away, and he's got a clear track in front of him aside from the 85 of Charlie McCarron. So he's just got to put together 5 more decent laps, and he's got his first win of the season. And we're going to have 8 different winners in 8 races. 66 just got the wall there. But it's not going to matter here. Taps is smooth sailing out there.
Got past 4 laps to go. Well, he's actually on 4 laps to go right now. He can get past it. Maybe that's where his... Yep, there you go. 3 laps. Unless Charlie McCarron makes him do something real stupid. I think this is his race to win.
Taps is going to get past the 85 with no issues. Back in second place. Where is second and third? Oh, there they are. Billy Smith has actually made the pass on Karina Willis-Callaway for second. I think Karina might have hit the wall. I saw a scrape on the right side. So we got a new driver in second place. But still a good run for both of them. But here we go. Coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go here for Corbin Taps as he rounds turn number 4. Trying to get McPicky Motorsports their 4th win of the season. 1 for every driver. And this team has established themselves as the best team in the series. They have not won any championships yet, but they are showing that they are contenders. Rounding turn number 4, Corbin Taps in the number 16 is going to go to victory lane here at Hillside. Second place will be Billy Smith. Third place, Karina Willis-Callaway. Lori Jackson is going to get Checkered Flag Racing their first top 5 of the year. And Jake Sidney is going to get his first top 5 of the season. Damon Kirby and Jack Gino will round out the drivers on the lead lap.
8. Oh, they did it. Barry didn't get his top 10. Lakin
Yes.
held him off.
Tim Berry's going to
It
finish
happened.
11th, which is his worst finish of the year. But, like, that's still a pretty good finish. He's going to gain some points on
Absolutely.
quite a few drivers here, especially the ones that were involved in the accidents. But Corbin Taps gets his second career win, his first one of the season. I mean, his first win came on the big track at Talladega, but would you believe me if I told you his second win was a lot crazier than the first? Just look at all these DNFs, and a lot of these were from the same accident. Like 20th to 32nd were all the same accident. That wreck took out 13 cars if you include the two pit loopers, who were pit looping directly because of the accident. But just 7 cars on the lead lap here at Hillside, and that's a similar count to what we had in the amateur race last year, where only 6 cars finished on the lead lap, but that was for a different reason. That one just had a lot of cars hitting the wall. This one had a couple of accidents and one really big one that involved most of the field. And the survivors were the ones that finished on the lead lap. I mean, even then, Damon Kirby finished in 6th with no front end. He kind of survived the wreck. He survived it enough, but man, but a good run for Corbin Taps. He did everything he needed to do. McPicky Motorsports did everything they needed to do. Even though, they had some junked race cars as well, they still managed to get an 8th and 11th from those wrecked race cars. And they're really showing why they're the best team in the league right now. 4 wins in 8 races, all from different drivers. And they're showing they can beat you in a variety of different ways. And, we knew they've been one of the top teams in the series ever since its inception. But this year, they're really putting a stranglehold, at least in the wins column. But yeah, Taps in first. Billy Smith with a second place. Good run for him. Karina Willis-Callaway with a good run. It's not the win that she might have wanted, but she keeps racking up these good runs. That's her second top 5 in a row. She's almost certainly going to be top 10 in points now. So that's an absolutely outstanding run for the Connie Twins Motorsports driver. I mean, we had 2 checkered flag racing cars, 2 damaged checkered flag racing cars finish in the top 10. If that doesn't tell you what kind of race it was, I don't know what does. Shauna Everett managed to salvage a top 10. I'm pretty sure that's her first one of the season, so good run for her. Jack Gino finished in 7th, and if he didn't hit the wall off of turn 4 there, he might have had something for Taps at the end. Landry, whose car was beat up basically the whole race, ends up finishing in 8th. Lakin Herndon without a front end finishes 10th. And you just see the drivers that finished the race here. Only 19 of them, and everybody else out of the race. And we see a lot of the drivers. We see a few of the drivers that were pretty high up in points that were in that. James Harvin, Akia Tajima. But for the most part, most of them actually ended up finishing the race. And that's incredible considering how many of them were started in the back of the field. And it didn't seem to matter. And, that's why they're at the front of the pack in terms of the standings. They know how to get it done better than all the rest. So, yeah, Gino, Dearman, McCarran, Barry, and Brian all managed to finish the race despite their poor qualifying runs. Well, Eddie, can you potentially conjure up your thoughts on this race? Because a lot of things happened, and maybe give us a preview for next race, which is going to be at the Iowa Speedway.
I'll start with the obvious. I feel like Iowa's going to be a lot calmer than whatever adrenaline junkie fueled thingamabob this was. Yeah, this race was, I think, what we kind of expected. We knew Hillside was going to have some form of chaos in it. I don't think the level of the chaos we got was what we expected. We expected, I don't know, a little bit more balanced chaos in terms of finishes and crashes and all that, but instead we just got the mother load of them all. Regardless, I mean, again, kind of in the end, we got what we, I guess, expected, which was a McPicky win. a couple of surprises up at the front. And this one I think after the there was a before the accident and there was an after the accident, and those two different acts of this race were entirely different. But regardless of that, I think Iowa's going to be a lot calmer. We're probably going to see a bunch of McPicky master classes at that track, given another speedway, and it's obvious they're really good at those this year. I don't know. I guess expect a McPicky win. I'm sure this will not end in 4 DNF for them next race, but to each their own.
And we say the McPicky cars are still really good, but they're definitely they are beatable. It's not like they're Alex Palou out there. But because we've seen the Patriot Racing cars, even though Patriot Racing hasn't won yet, they've been up there competing with them. We've seen especially the Hudson Motorsports cars show up to them pretty well, especially Gino and Dearman, and then Columbia Motorsports is always up there as well. I believe Columbia Motorsports had the most wins for a team entering this season. Not sure if they still have that title, but there are definitely a lot of teams that can compete with them. But McPicky's been the best at closing out races this season. And that's really what you want the most in terms of that, because you can have the speed all you want, and you just got to make sure to close it out. This was a great example of that, because we saw a lot of drivers that had speed early on, and then they ended up running into issues that they weren't able to recover from. You think of Kevin DuPont in the one car. He actually did make a nice recovery up until, he got into the 27 and then caused that big accident. Man, a rough race for Motor Racing Ventures. All 4 of their cars got taken out in the big one, even though they had quite a few cars that were up there at some point, including the 50 car, the 40 car, and the 55. All had time up towards the front. But this was definitely a survival race. And you mentioned this race did kind of have 2 acts. There was the before the big accident, and then there was the after the big accident part, and that split the race pretty much in half. And we definitely saw a different feature from both halves of this race. But I mean, the race was pretty eventful. I will say that much. And that's how it is at Hillside. You never have a boring race at Hillside. That's something that just doesn't happen here. So and with how the first 7 races went, they were pretty solid, but they kind of all blended together. I think we definitely needed a race that was a bit different, and Hillside definitely provided that. But I'm definitely looking forward to having I would say, more traditional race at Iowa, but last year's race at Iowa was also pretty chaotic. So and then, of course, we've got the Lumen 500 after that, which is the biggest race of them all. So these upcoming races are going to be pretty wild, and this is just starting with the chaos. And then even after that, you look at that, you got Chicagoland, where we had a last lap pass last year, and then you got Mosport, which had a pretty chaotic finish last year. So we've got a lot of interesting racetracks coming up here, and Hillside was just the first one of them. Well, that's going to conclude today's broadcast. Congratulations to Corbin Taps and McPicky Motorsports on the win. And on behalf of Eddie Debs, this is Brennan Wilmington from the Left Turn Network signing out. Here are your points after race number 8 of the season, which will be on your screen right now.